Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a very interesting Black Clover theory revolving around the possibility of Asta now actually having two devils, not just one. Now, this is something that has a fair amount of evidence supporting it, so get ready. I do want to warn you, though, that this theory video will contain some manga spoilers, so be prepared. And also, if you want to hire me as a personal trainer, my link will be in the description down below. But if you guys end up enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment, and guys, please subscribe. We're close to 40,000 subscribers, so if we can get to 40,000, that would be very much appreciated. So with all that being said, let's just get into this theory. So guys, this actually all stemmed from a comment from one of my amazing subscribers named Ivar Trove, who commented this on one of my recent videos. Yo, is Gimodelo now Asta's devil? Noct had left him there in the ritual place. Now when I first read this, I just thought that Ivar and I had just interpreted this scene differently. I thought Noct had only left Gimodelo behind just so that he could help Asta and Lieb train to use the Devil Union much better. Though after going back and reading the chapters of Asta training with Noct, or using the lens of Ivar's thoughts, as I read, it actually makes a lot of sense for Gimodelo to now be actually serving under Asta, and there's a fair amount of evidence backing it. Though I also give some ideas for why it might not actually be true as well, but first let us discuss the whole point of this arc and the intricacies of the devil binding rituals. The whole point of this little mini arc is for Asta to get stronger, because his anti-magic power is the key to defeating the Space Kingdom and stopping the arrival of Lucifero into the world. Now Noct is portrayed to be a genius when it comes to devil magic, as he has 4 devils serving him. So he makes Asta take part in a devil binding ritual with Lieb. This would allow Asta to better use the anti-magic power if he won, or if he lost, Lieb would take over his body and it would turn into a monstrosity. It is important to note that Asta was never possessed by Lieb. Lieb was sealed within the grimoire and was only trickling his power into Asta's body. Thus their partnership was not and is not comparable to that of the Dark Triad or Noct. Through the combination of Asta's experience and determination, he would eventually defeat Lieb in the devil binding ritual, which forced him under his will. Though Asta altered the deal of the contract, allowing the two to remain on equal footing, he wanted them to be friends. While Noct said this was the right choice and made it so they would not achieve their full power in the designated time of training. Next, Noct would activate his Devil Union with Gimodelo and activate the characteristic known as Pack to create a squad of shadow clones. Now, after 2 days of fighting, Noct, Asta, and Lieb didn't progress enough to the point of achieving Devil Union. Noct made note of this and said that they were running out of time, so he increased his power and said, "No choice then, if it is not going to work anyways, then die here." Noct would then activate his Mana Zone and proceed to beat Asta further, though Asta and Lieb would break their limits and activate Devil Union at least partially for a brief time, and they defeated Noct convincingly. After the battle, Noct notes that he lost, so then he leaves Gimodelo with Asta and then heads off for the battlefield. Though, when you look at this through the lens of Gimodelo possibly being left behind because he is now Asta's and not just so that they can actually train him, it actually makes much more sense. For example, Noct says this to Asta after it all. "You were always right. You said people who were right weren't necessarily rewarded. However, I would like them to be. I will leave Gimodelo here." See? The way Noct words this, it really makes it seem that Asta's reward here is that he now has Gimodelo under contract as well. The even crazier thing that backs this up is after this battle, Noct only has 3 of his relics remaining on his necklace. Remember, these relics are needed so that he can have a tie with his devils. He had 4 before the fight, and now he only has 3. Now I thought maybe just could be an error because Noct is a bit far away, maybe just the art isn't good enough, but you can't see any of his necklace in any of the other panels after this. It's all hidden pretty much. It's even hidden by a comic bubble here. And even in page 2 of chapter 270, it shows him decently far away in the panel, yet Tabata still drew in all 4 of his relics. So you could say maybe it's an art error, but Tabata didn't make the error previously. It is also incredibly important to note that the entire battle took place over the same place the ritual had been activated in. In fact, when Noct enters the battle to face off against Asta and Lieb, the array circle of demon magic is still encompassing the floor of the room, meaning that Asta with Lieb fought Noct with Gimodelo over an active devil binding ritual array. Now, what is even crazier is that if you just look at the context, it doesn't make sense for it not to be. This is Noct's thought process, really, if he doesn't lose Gimodelo. He's like, okay, it's been 2 days, they aren't getting stronger, I guess I better kill the kid with anti-magic if he doesn't break his limits because we have to go. Wouldn't it be better if he just kept Asta alive anyways? They would at least have a shot with anti-magic. And then, again, it doesn't make sense once more, because Noct would end up leaving them behind anyways. He leaves Asta behind with Gimodelo, and he heads off to form the Spade Assault Squad. But if you add in the context of it being a devil binding ritual, this feels much more natural and complex. See, if Noct were to kill Asta, he would gain Lieb through the devil binding ritual. This means he would have a 5th devil, one that can use anti-magic. While he wouldn't be able to use it greatly probably because he does have mana himself, those expertise with the use of the devil mana still gives him a shot to maybe, just maybe, take down the Dark Triad. On the other end, if Asta wins, he gains Gimodelo, another devil as a reward. Here's the kicker. Because of Gimodelo's ability, it actually allows Noct to leave and go begin the Spade invasion, and this leaves Gimodelo to help Asta and Lieb. The reason this works is because Gimodelo's pack creates clones of the user, but with the same key. This means that Asta and Lieb could use these clones to train themselves to better use the Devil Union. For example, you have Asta and Lieb use Devil Union, then Gimodelo would then be activated to use his pack, creating a pack of clones for Asta and Lieb, and then Asta and Lieb, the real ones, fight the clones to train. I actually think this makes a lot of sense. The evidence is clearly there. Noct with Gimodelo fought Asta with Lieb in the middle of an array of a devil binding ritual. Noct lost. He leaves Gimodelo behind, and he's now missing one of his devil relics. Again, it makes sense if Noct is willing to kill Asta only if he can gain Lieb as one of his devils. There's just no way he kills Asta without any possible gain, because like I said, you might as well just have his anti-magic on the battlefield just in case. Now, if this is true, imagine how strong Asta will be with full Devil Union and then the use of Gimodelo's pack. He won't even need the use of Gosha's Mirror Brigade. Well, this actually sets up a very cool possible scenario, where Asta uses pack to create a bunch of clones of himself, and then Gosha combines Real Double, and then uses a double dose of Mirror Brigade, one on Yuno, and one on Noelle. This means an entire army made up of just of the Light Triad to face off against that of the Spade, the Dark Triad, and the Qliphoth Devils. Now, there are some, I guess, detractions you can go for here. Like, for example, it's never blatantly stated that Gimodelo is now Asta's. He just says he's going to leave him there with him. And then there's another possible detraction. Well, can Asta share a pact with the devil if he has no mana? We don't know yet. The only reason why it might work with Lieb is because Lieb doesn't have anti-magic, whereas the other devils do. Another one is Asta doesn't shown to have the relic. Or at least from what it's seen, we don't see Asta with the relic that Noct had. It's just gone. So does that mean it's just an art error, even though it's not likely? And then also there's no markings like that of Asta and Lieb's devil binding ritual. Their binding was made very clear when that happened, yet there's no clearness shown of Asta and Gimodelo being binded together now. So I wonder what that would necessarily mean. You can also say that Noct just left Gimodelo behind so that he has a tie to them so that he can use the shadow magic to bring them in when they're ready. Although, then again, it's just hard to say. But overall, I would say that this is a very, very, very good theory, and it's decently backed up. Like I said, it makes so much more sense if you look at all of this, if you use the lens that Asta gains Gimodelo or Noct gains Lieb during this fight against each other. Because why would Noct just straight up kill Asta when, sure, he doesn't master Devil Union, but at the very least, the anti-magic could be somewhat useful. Maybe they get a lucky blow in with it, and they actually win and defeat them. It's better to have the anti-magic with them, even if it's not fully powered, than to kill it. Unless if you say, well, Lieb gets it, or Noct gets it if he defeats Asta. Or, if he loses, then Asta gets Gimodelo, and that helps him train. So, it makes so much sense, but I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. Again, thanks Ivar Trove for the comment. It made me look at this in a completely different light. This would be very interesting to see. It's going to be crazy if the next time we see Asta, it's dozens of him or something like that in the Devil Union mode. But that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, comment, and subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...